Well, what is significant about Venezuela and the whole situation in South America is that the underlying geostrategic interest that is beneath the sort of dogma about narco terrorism, illegitimate elections, and everything like that is the fact that America is currently losing hold over their um, control over South America. And what's happening increasingly is that China is becoming the second biggest leading trade partner with South American countries. More significantly, they are investing in deep water ports all across the region, whether it be in Mexico or Nicaragua or Peru. On top of that, these countries are trading with China. And again, it seems innocent at first, just on an economic basis, but for a security interest, um, these deep water ports that China is propping up in Peru, in Brazil, in Nicaragua, at first they have a commercial use, but again, they can have a dual use, a sort of sneaky use as military ports. Again, it's neither here nor there. They say it's commercial, but of course, it can have a dual use as a military port, and this is a major area of security concern for the United States because this violates the Monroe Doctrine. And what's the Monroe Doctrine? The Monroe Doctrine is basically the idea that everything on the Western Hemisphere is America's backyard, is within America's legitimate sphere of influence. So similarly, if we're talking to the war if we're talking about the war in Ukraine, it's Putin's claim that Ukraine and Georgia cannot join NATO. That is an unacceptable geostrategic posture because the Black Sea is Russia's legitimate area of sphere of is legitimately part of Russia's sphere of influence. The Black Sea, of course, is what Russia uses to export hydrocarbons. It was very significant in 2015 when Russia aided the Bashar al-Assad regime in the Syrian civil war. It was the first time Russia was able to project power and basically use Syria as a client state since the fall of the Soviet Union in 1991. So it is Russia's claim that that area is their legitimate area of strategic interest. It's their legitimate area of their sphere of influence. And similar, the case is with America in the entirety of the Western Hemisphere. It's unacceptable for any sort of Russian, Iranian, or Chinese influence to be in that region. And I mention those countries because they are significant adversaries of the United States. And they're also nuclear powers, China and Russia. Iran has a dormant nuclear program. They, in my opinion, are, which is crazy to say, in my opinion, are not in possession of a nuclear warhead, but they have a latent nuclear program. So, and this is significant because I'm sure if you're unfamiliar, if you're unfamiliar, you had in 1961 during Kennedy's administration at the height of the Cold War. Pardon me, did I say 61? No, it's 1962. My bad. So during the Cuban Missile Crisis in 1962, America stationed nuclear missiles in the United Kingdom and in Turkey, right next to Russia. And Russia responded by putting nuclear missiles in Cuba. And this was a massive geostrategic disaster. It was said this was a ticking clock for World War III, nuclear war. They were able to settle the situation eventually through an agreement, but that's basically sort of the idea with the newfound security concern in South America. You basically could have another Cuban Missile Crisis on your hands if Maduro is ideologically and strategically, economically aligned with China. One of these deep water ports could be used for a dual use of smuggling arms into Venezuela. And if the country continually is being pushed into the arms of China through trade agreements, and they're constantly being economically aligned with them, excuse me, if China is taking use of the vast amounts of resources that Venezuela has, again, they're not necessarily a rich country. They don't have a lot of infrastructure or significant military, but they have a lot of resources. They have oil, they have natural gas, they have gold. It's bad for America if China can get their hands on that stuff. And once again, there is a significant security dilemma if China is able to potentially put nuclear weapons or any sort of ballistic missile, any sort of thing that could potentially harm America in South America, in Venezuela.